I encourage everyone to burn your TV. Guess what? You can buy books to read on your phone. Even if you're like, I'm not ready to go to the gym, which I think you are. I'm just going to tell you are. Every day when the alarm goes off at 3:50, I'm like, I don't want to get out of bed. There's a real vacuum cleaner clown at the door here to kill me. People will be like, oh, I'm starting to research how to eat healthy. I'm like, just start eating healthy, right?
Don't research.
I'm starting to get ready to go to the gym. I'm working up the courage. I'm like, that does nothing for you. There's no action. So again, action is the key principle here on all of this stuff.
Thursday afternoon in the mountains. I'm here with Jordan Adams. When did I interview? 2 months ago?
Maybe.
Yeah, 2 months ago.
It all runs together for me.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna say. Are there any questions? So, but I want to say, if you guys have questions for Jordan or me, seriously, shoot away, and Kelsey will shoot them out to us. But what's the first question?
How can I share my love for God or a higher power without infringing on other people's beliefs?
This is a great question.
I guess we have to be Socratic about this. What is that definition of infringing on other people's beliefs? Like,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is it sounds like it's almost coming from a place of fear that if you do share your belief of God, you are infringing upon someone's beliefs. And in all honesty, I've definitely had this feeling. I can now honestly say that I don't. In fact, I was reading today in Acts 5 when Peter and they get thrown in jail and beaten because they were teaching. Yeah. And they said do not. They said you cannot testify of Jesus. And the second they got out, they said, we are honored. Like, we are honored that we were worthy to suffer for his name. Yeah. And then it says they went from temple to temple and house to house preaching because they couldn't stop preaching.
Let's go.
It's like, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
So I would say this. Before that question, what is your fear? Like, are you scared that you're going to lose a friendship? Yeah. Are you scared that you'll offend someone? And if you are scared that you would offend someone, what's more important, someone being offended or your living out the truth and your connection to God?
So I think people tend to get too formulaic and too formal with sharing their beliefs, right? So within my faith, the LDS faith, people do that a lot, right? We're like, okay, get my copy of the scriptures, write my testimony in it, and I got to pray and find somebody to give it to. I'm like, bro, that's really awkward. If someone came up to me and was like, this is my I'd be like, this is no, not going to work for me. So I think, how would Jesus do it? Being a dope dude, being the homie. And again, I'm from San Diego, so I'll use San Diego terminology. Being the dope homie is the best way you can do that. By being a good example, by living your life congruently to your values, that's the first step to be able to show people what your true beliefs are. And then if they ask, they ask. If they don't, again, that goes back to incentives. If they don't ask, that's okay. You can still just be a really good person. Jesus shared the gospel, but again, it's like we have so little of there were probably so many times when he was just like, hey, I'm going to go help you just to help you because I love you. Yeah. I don't need to write my testimony in a Bible or a Book of Mormon or a Quran and give it to you,
Yeah, I would say if you feel inspired to do that and
do it.
Sure. Do that for sure.
It. But you don't need to do that.
But it's interesting that Christ didn't go around, and when he healed someone, he always said, don't tell anyone. And he wasn't knocking door to door. No. Like, he would go out and perform miracles. He would go out and live God's will for him perfectly. Yeah. And then people would get interested. So to answer your question, and I like that we're talking about this because my answer is getting better and better, is building off yours. Live that truth, live your values. Yeah. Make sure you have good values to live first. Be someone worthy of someone wanting to know more about God.
Be the dope homie.
Be the dope homie.
Yes.
All right, do you have any more?
What can I do during the day to feel connected and motivated so I don't get in my own head?
Yeah. So we actually have a fun thing in the Stoic Dad group that's kind of awesome. And I think most people are box checkers. That's easier to view life with boxes, right? So we do a couple of things. Eric, do you want to talk about some of the things from the checklist?
So was it what to do during the day to feel connected?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motivated.
And motivated. Okay, so I don't like the word motivation because it's very fleeting. I've kind of thrown that out of my vernacular as far as approaching motivation. And
purpose-filled, maybe?
Yeah, I just don't like motivation. Yeah, okay. For some reason, it's just cheap.
Yeah, it's temporary.
It's very temporary. You can go to a seminar and get really motivated. You walk out and you're like, no, my life's the same. Okay.
Maybe it's how to develop discipline.
Discipline is where I'd go. Okay, so in the Stoic Dad group, which I joined, so I'm in Jordan's group. there's principles. So we wake up there's non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And we all do this together, so we're connected, and I would say it connects me to God and my purpose even more. So I wake up at 5 a.m. I work out every day. I have a nutritional plan that I'm accountable for, and I follow. I practice gratitude, specified gratitude. So it's not like I'm just like going through the day being thankful in my heart. Like I actually thank someone specifically, and I'm for specific things. So I'm actually putting a lot of effort into it. Burpees. The worst.
Yes.
But we do burpees every day.
We're doing some after this, right?
Yeah. And what else are we doing?
So
I should know this.
So here it is. It's waking up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
It's 100% at the gym or in your exercises, right? 30 minutes of reading.
Oh, yeah.
I encourage everyone to burn your TV. Like, take your TV and light it on fire.
I don't watch TV anymore.
Yeah.
Very rarely.
It's worthless. I hate to say it to anybody out there. You're holding on to something that has no value in your life.
Yes. Can we say one more thing?
Yes.
And you have another guy that had this experience, but this guy was asked, how do you do all this stuff? How do you have all these breakthroughs? What did you add to do it? And the guy said, I didn't add anything. He said, I had my biggest breakthroughs when I took things out of my life.
Yes.
He said, I took all this crap out, and it made room for goodness.
It's not what I do, it's what I don't do.
What I don't do. So that's a good principle.
So 30 minutes of reading, gratitude statement, and this gratitude statement is very, very basic. It's specific, it's unique, and it's individual. Mm-hmm. So like to your wife, this is a great example. Like go to your wife and say, honey, I'm grateful for you. Now that's a basic, that's very basic. So get granular with it. I'm grateful for the type of mother you are because you are so good at diffusing all of these, like in my house, diffusing all of these emotions that come from my girls. And that is just so awesome. You're masterful at that. And I appreciate that. That is a gratitude statement, not just like, hey, I'm grateful for you. Because that's kind of like a blanket and that's easy. So make it hard. And like Eric said, it becomes like if you express gratitude, man, talk about being connected.
Talk about changing your life.
Yes.
I mean, gratitude is so essential.
100%.
I also want to talk about filling your well in the morning. Like this 5 a.m. thing seems brutal. And I know that you talk to potential clients who are like, why 5 a.m.? It seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, let me bear my testimony about 5 a.m. 5 a.m. is really hard.
Yeah.
It's actually getting a lot easier for me. But when I come out of the gym at 6:30 and it's still like the sun hasn't even come up and it's just pink skies, and I'm feeling amazing. And I know I'm going to go home and like read the scriptures, read books I'm interested in, go do the dishes. I mean, that is the best feeling in the world to be to 8 o'clock and I've done all this stuff. And then my family gets up and I'm so full of gratitude and love. Yeah. Instead of me getting up at 7:30 groggy and like, oh, I got to be to work. Yeah. And then, I'm eating something.
I already feel like I failed on the day. Yeah.
I'm eating something that's not good for me because I don't have time because I stayed up watching Netflix. I mean, it is night and day. I mean, I am converted to the 5 a.m. club. I know I will do this the rest of my life. I know that's a bold statement, but this is part of who I am now.
Well, and I think too, people say like, well, where do you find time to like engage with intellectual pursuits? It's in the morning when the kids aren't running around. Like I wake up at 3:50 every day, and I immediately start reading. So I wake up. I read in the bathroom. Okay, I'm a man, and so I sit on the toilet and I read, whether it's Enchiridion or Letters from a Stoic or the Scriptures, or I even have the Books app on my phone. Guess what? You can buy books to read on your phone, and I'll read, and that's when I get in that pursuit. And that practice right there puts me immediately in this positive trajectory for the day where it's like, okay, I have no reason to be a biatch now because I've done these things. And then I'm driving typically with my wife to the gym. And we talked about this yesterday, right? My wife and I are silent on the way to the gym because you're
so tired.
It's 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. We're
dark.
Just like, and she's like, don't talk to me anyway, But then we do our workout. And on the way back, when we're home, and in Florida, it's very foggy coming back at 7 a.m., the most beautiful conversations you'll ever have in your life, even with yourself. It doesn't need to be with someone else.
I agree.
And I listen to classical music. Now, I love like pig squeal death metal. Like I listen to the heaviest death metal possible when I'm lifting. But on the way to the gym and on the way back, it's typically Mari Samuelson and Max Richter, or listening to Bach or listening to something very classical and bringing in that calm feeling and that very contemplative introspection that happens there. Even if you just did that, like even if you're like, I'm not ready to go to the gym, which I think you are. I'm just going to tell you are. But if you're not, you're like just waking up at 5 o'clock, listening to classical, reading a book, that alone.
That will do so much for your life. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You'll take off into outer space.
I hope that was helpful for this guy.
But create like a checklist of things to do, but do those things that are hard. I'll tell you that right there. You're never going to find focused like contentment if you're doing the easy things. Like saying like, okay, I'm going to get up at 7 and I'm going to watch TV for 30 minutes and then I'm going to eat 3 bowls of cereal and get to the office. Why am I not feeling content? It's because those things are not hard. That's just what it is.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing with my kids is like, this is hard, and I'm like, I'm creating a culture with them that the hard things are what you love. I mean, the hard things will bring the things that you love.
Yes.
You will value them. I mean, when you get allowance money, you go spend it on candy immediately.
Yeah.
Like we think about it, like, did you really enjoy that? And like, yeah, for a minute, but it sucks that it's gone now.
Yeah.
And it's such a true principle. The hard stuff is the good stuff.
Yeah.
And habit and discipline, you learn to embrace it, and then it gets addicting.
Yeah.
Like the 5 a.m. is not that hard for me anymore. At first it was brutal, but now it's like, I'm excited. I wake up and then I'm hungry to go for the day.
Yeah. Even honestly, even reading philosophy for me, I remember when I first started like really reading philosophy, I was like, I hate reading philosophy. This sucks. Like it's number one, and maybe I probably started incorrectly. I started with the Metaphysics of Morals by Immanuel Kant, which is like,
sounds ridiculous.
People still don't even know what he's saying, you know? But then I moved on to Seneca and Marcus and all these people. And it was tough. But now there's an immense sense of satisfaction that comes from reading that type of stuff. Same thing goes with waking up early. It's not going to be easy. Maybe for the first like year even, you might struggle with it. People are like, oh, I just can't get up early. I'm like, well,
that's an excuse.
Yeah, that's an excuse. True. Nobody likes to get up early.
That's not true, yeah.
Every day when the alarm goes off at 3:50, I'm like, I don't want to get out of bed. Like there's just nothing in me that's like, let's go. Yeah. Granted, I started testosterone therapy recently because I'm old. And I do feel like I'm getting up easier now, but it doesn't make it psychologically or emotionally any easier than it ever has been.
Oh, please. Psychological versus physiological.
Yes.
Dude, that question.
Yes.
That's a game changer.
Oof. So being a coach, I deal with this all the time.
This is great.
Because we ask people so when you're losing body fat, okay, you have to eat in a caloric deficit, right? And if you don't know what that is, it means that your body burns a certain amount of calories just from being alive, and you have to typically burn more than that to be able to lose body fat. There is no green smoothie, and liposuction is not a long-term, solution to this. So we sacrifice a lot because as Americans, we are the biggest overeaters in the world. Mm-hmm. So people get into these deficits, and they get hungry, and they get emotional. And I had a client, Stevie, who, one of my favorite clients, he would call me all the time and be like, I'm hungry, and I feel like I'm dying. And I'm like, okay, Stevie, calm down. Is this physiological or is this psychological? Really contemplate this for a second. And he'd be silent. It'd be like 30 seconds. I could just hear his car driving in the background and be like, okay, I'm just being an emotional bitch. And I'm like, yes, you are. You're just being an emotional bitch. And that's so true, right? And I'd say, be honest though. If it is physiological, then let's deal with it. But I would say 90% of the time in that circumstance, and this can be applied across a wide range of situations.
Dude, your whole life, I was going to say, it's everything. Mm-hmm. Is this the choice I'm going to make? Is this psychological or is this physiological?
Yes,
and 95% of it's psychological.
It's kind of like when your dad's like, you're not dying. And you're like, are you dying? No, then don't worry about it. Like, dang it, like dad's right. But that's so true, especially in our program, because to get to peak physical, shape, you have to be very psychologically driven, and you have to be able to separate, is this physiological or is this psychological? Now, again, for guys watching,
and the answer, right, is psychological. It's usually some sort of crutch or excuse.
Yeah,
your brain's,
it's a fear.
It's a fear. Your brain's trying to take care of you and preserve you because you're programmed to do that. So that's why that question's so important.
Yeah.
If it's physiological, you probably should look out. That's where you do answer the alarm bells.
Yes.
And feed yourself or take care of something.
Correct.
If it's psychological, it's the excuse. The fear-based stuff is coming in.
Well, it's like when guys say they can't wake up early. You know what I mean? You're like, you can.
Is that physiological or psychological?
It's almost never physiological. It almost never is. And like if you have cancer, I'm like, I have a buddy that I coach. He's not quite in the program. He has brain cancer. And so when he comes to me and he says like, I'm struggling with this, I take it a little bit more seriously, right, than other people. But I'm like, if you're healthy and you're coming to me and you're saying, I can't wake up at 5 a.m., I'm like, that's 100% psychological. And the thing about the psychological thing, going back to pain, those are all self-imposed things. They're all things that we create. So, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but we put masks on things and we define them by the masks.
Give me an example.
Okay. So like, for example, it's all perception. Okay. So we might look at, so here's a weird story. This is a weird story. Okay. When I was like 5, I lived in a trailer with my dad, or like when I'd go see him. Right. And knock on the door on Halloween. There's a clown on the other side of this door, right? And its neck was made out of like a tube, a hose. Really creepy, weird, you know? I'm 5, by the way. So my perception is this is a real clown, okay? Like, this is creepy. A few years later, I'm in my grandma's house, which is up the road, and I open the closet, and there's that damn clown in the closet, right? In my mind, that clown was real. In reality, my grandma was behind it, you know what I mean? Waving around this vacuum cleaner clown, yeah. Right? But in my 5-year-old mind, I'm like, there's a real vacuum cleaner clown at the door here to kill me. And so that was a mask. That was what I saw on the facade. And we do that with our fears and our anxieties. We say, like, for example, what's the mask of waking up at 5 a.m.?
I'm
going to be tired. Yeah. I'm not going to have enough energy. Or
I didn't get enough sleep.
I didn't get enough sleep. And it's like, okay, see it for what it really is, though. Mm-hmm. What did you do the day before? Nothing valuable anyway. You watched TV until 10 p.m. You got plenty of rest sitting on the couch, and you slept 6 hours. Mm-hmm. It's not that you didn't get plenty of sleep. It's just that you were unwilling to face the fact that you don't get as much sleep that you're as you're typically used to, right? Mm-hmm. That's the mask, and the mask is typically the fear. It's like the dark. I used to be terrified of the dark until I realized one day that the dark is the same thing as the light in the absence of the light. It's like if you walk through your house at night, there's no ghosts in your house. You just can't see. It's the mask that we're putting on there, and that's all fear and anxiety is just putting the story. It's a story that we put behind it. The story is this, but introspection and cognitive distance helps us see things as they really are, right? And if we can see them as they really are and remove that mask, all of our fears start to fall to the wayside.
This is why reading's so important to me. Reading about great men and great ideas is because it clears your mind and helps you like wipe away these masks that we may have. Because you're seeing great men do the same problem, same suffering that's not unique, but overcoming this.
Yeah, that's they see it for what it really is, right? Yeah. And I think that's a great way to get rid of some of your excuses, men who are watching this. It's like, what is food really? Like, you don't need as much food. I guarantee you, in fact, I promise you, your metabolism is not as high as you think it is. You don't have as much muscle mass as you think you have. You don't need nearly as much food as you think you do. It's just you're feeding the psychological emotion and fear that you're having. And the very best way to become a tough man is to become a monk, like Zach, who's going to be on, I think, your podcast tomorrow. Yeah. He's gone to monk status. He's shredded, and he's like, dude, my biggest moments of mental clarity and toughness have been when I'm at a low calorie deficit and I'm sitting in this suffering, or this pain rather, and saying, I am congruent. And that is the most manly that you'll ever do in your life. I promise you, I have lifted up Atlas stones. By the way, I'm way stronger than most people my size because I've embraced this, right? Yeah. But I've lifted up Atlas stones with guys who are way bigger than me, eat way more. And they're like, dude, you're way stronger than us because you're lean and you can do this. I promise if you can get lean and you can embrace this type of program, dude, your monk status mind will literally take off into outer space, and you'll find a whole new realm.
Mind, body, spirit. Coaches like you are perceived online. Not like you, but I'm just saying, like fitness coaches. Dude, let's just get jacked, drive big cars, and honestly, it's not appealing to that one thing doesn't appeal to me. Yeah. And that might be a mask because I was like, I'm just fine with me kind of being out of shape. Yeah. But when you lift up one of the corners of mind, body, spirit, the others come with it. But it's also then you also learn that they're all equally important.
Well, it's kind of like getting back to the Joyous Warrior, right? If you want to find joy and you want to be a warrior, which are the same thing, I think you have to be a warrior to find joy, and you have to be joyful to be a true warrior, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have to be congruent in all the things that you do. And so mind, body, soul, mind, body, spirit, my program specifically, I got into this because I was coaching mindset, and my coach was like, you got to coach fitness because men are dumb and they need to feel like there's some sort of entry, some sort of pathway into this. But at the same time, they're all very much connected because, again, if you can take your body to peak performance, there's no way that you don't take your mind to that peak performance as well. And you don't have to be a bro to do that. And I'm a bro in a lot of ways. I have plenty of friends that are bros. But I think the big difference is we're taking people to a sustainability level to where they can do this for the rest of their life and find that high level of contentment through these principles rather than... And no offense, again, to anybody who wants to get on a stage and get oiled up and, flex, great. I love it. That's a hard thing to do. But that's typically a start and stop program. There's an end that's kind of like right here. Our end is in the ground. Yeah. Right? We're getting buried. We're dead. We're moving on to the next stage. Yeah. So for men who are watching this, the mind is certainly, we use stoicism to coach that. The body is getting in great shape, but the spirit is actually the most important part of all of this, because that is where we find contentment and love and joy and purpose and all those things. These things just teach you how to do that. I promise you, everything that you desire is on the other side of fear. That's our motto, right?
Yeah.
You will never know what that feels like until you've gotten on the other side of that fear. And to get on the other side of that fear, you have to go through all of that pain and transformation.
Voluntary pain.
Voluntary pain. Yeah. You have to do that first. And I think for a lot of men, they can see it, but they have no idea what it feels like. They don't know what it really is. It's kind of, I use this example of like a cliff, and there's all of this joy, all of these people experiencing joy down in the water, and you can see it. You're like, I want to be in that water, but I'm also afraid to jump off the cliff because there's a lot of fear involved with that. And also, I don't really need to be that guy. He doesn't look that happy. I'm going to lie to myself and say that. But all of the growth is in the jump. Most people just don't want to jump. They want to be that, but they don't. It's not even that they don't know how. They're lying to themselves and justifying and saying, if I don't do that, then I'm going to be safe. And maybe there's another way around it to the water. If I walk down, you're like, no, there's no growth in that, right? So the spirit concept is this, is that if you can take yourself through the mind and body, that's the peripheral. And then the spirit's going to come together in this harmonious congruency to where all of a sudden, like Zach, where it's like, dude, this guy found God through this process. Because when you take yourself low into these depths of humility, and that's why we do this program. It has nothing to do with being jacked. Jacked is a byproduct of all this. It has to do with the fact that when you take yourself down low into that humility, that's where God is. That's truly where God is. And I love members of my faith, but I will straight up go up to some of the leaders in my faith and be like, you're not finding God with your big, fat, lazy, gelatinous body. I'm sorry, you just can't, because you're constantly medicating yourself with dopamine, which is the ultimate lie, right? It's the counterfeit. It's the counterfeit hormone, right? It lies to us. You're just shoving food through your mouth all the time and feeling this high that comes. It's the same kind of high you feel from cocaine. There's no way you're feeling God in your life.
That's true.
It's not possible, right? So the spirit really is the main goal of our program. I think you helped me realize that. And I think it's important to understand that being jacked, it's kind of a joke more than anything else. Like we say jacked, right? It's funny. Like, yeah, am I lean? Am I cut? Can I lift a lot of weights? Yeah. But I do that because it enhances my spirit.
And when you feel good, when you physically feel good, it's so much easier to serve and to be positive and to be encouraging. And I want to encourage people right now. It may seem like, and I've been there, so I'm talking to my past self and my current self too. It may seem like the chasm to get to where you want to go or you want to be is really just deep and far. And you might think, yeah, I'm going to do it at this time, and I'm going to do it that time. And now I'm going to wait for the pill that comes out. I'm going to wait till this thing comes out or this thing lines up. But I promise you, it's the same amount of work today as it's going to be tomorrow. I mean, until you take that first step, that step can be right now, today. It doesn't have to be through Jordan's program. It can be calling a buddy and getting a gym pass. It can be deciding to cut out something in your diet that's not good. It could be wake up the half hour early to read, to fill your well. I mean, it starts today. So, I mean, this pod, like talking to Jordan motivates the crap out of me. But until I go do something, I'm not doing what you said, and I'm not aligning my values and being congruent. And then I just push that joy and that like true essence of what I am and my connection to God where I want it to be. It's just a little farther off until I just align it. So I just want to motivate people. You can do that today. You can start right now.
Yeah. And I also think it's important to say, don't do too little either, because a lot of people are like, okay, well, I'm starting somewhere, and you're like, yeah, but at that pace you're going to be dead before you get anything, right?
That's a great point.
So people will be like, oh, I'm starting to research how to eat healthy. I'm like, no. Just start eating healthy, right?
Don't research.
I'm starting to get ready to go to the gym. I'm working up the courage. I'm like, that does nothing for you. There's no action. So again, action is the key principle here on all of this stuff. Same thing like with like eating healthy. Like, okay, I'm going to get into a deficit. How much? 10 calorie deficit? Not going to do anything for you, right? You've actually got to, and you've got to understand where you're at too. That's that introspection. Like I had you get a DEXA scan, right? Yeah. Because people are like, my metabolism's great. And it's like, well, how do you know until you actually get a test,
It
right?
shocked me. I was like, that motivated the crap.
You're like, I'm not 18 anymore? What happened? You know what I mean? So understanding your baseline too, whether that's psychological or emotional or spiritual, what's your baseline? And then are you taking action? Because everyone does have a different baseline, right? Like you and I have two different bodies and we're going to react differently to things. But so men, you do have to understand where your baseline is as well. If like you're like, look, I want to quit viewing pornography, okay? Then you can't say, well, I'm going to view some pornography tomorrow, right? It's like cigarettes. It's like, I want to quit cigarettes. So instead of smoking 20 cigarettes, I'm going to start smoking 10 cigarettes tomorrow. It's like, no, you actually have to take the action to put a barrier, in place to keep yourself away from that thing. So just if you do want to change, don't change so little to where you don't change. But at the same time, we're not expecting you to like jump into it where you're going to be waking up at 3:50 tomorrow and you're going to be jacked in 3 weeks. Because again, it doesn't happen the way, but comparing it to our relationship with God, change in your life with God doesn't happen overnight either. So why are we expecting this type of stuff to happen? People will come to me and they'll be like, how long is this going to take? I'm like, the rest of your life.
Rest of your life.
And they're like, oh, that sucks.
It's
I'm
a
like,
way
okay.
of life,
Yeah, it's a way of life. And it's like, well, God doesn't say like, oh, yeah, keep the commandments or like, be faithful for 2 years and then the rest of the time you're going to be fine.
Right.
This works the same way.
Right. The men that we are becoming, that we want to become, that we all, that's what I'm interested in. That's my work now, is encouragement and setting an example and talking to good guys.
Yes.
And because I care about our society, I care about our children, I care about my daughters who they're going to marry.
Yeah.
And it's up to us, it's up to the people listening right now to become men of God, to become the best version of themselves. It's already in you. You are divine. The spark is there. Let's unveil the masks. Let's get rid of the excuses, and let's be honest with ourselves and become who we're supposed to be. So Jordan, dude, thank you so much. That was awesome. Do we have any final comments or questions? Okay, we're good. We're going to wrap right there. Thank you for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. More importantly, I hope you feel closer to your Creator. If you find yourself wanting to strengthen your relationship with God, I'm a huge fan of the Skylight app. It's full of beautiful, high-quality daily spiritual practices. Finally, never forget, in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him.